So just imagine that you found out right now that Priyanka Chopra is going to come to your house today and you're supposed to impress her. So what would you focus on? Would you focus only on your looks or what kind of clothes you will wear, your hairstyle, or would you also focus on the conversation topics that you can use to, amaze her with your brilliance? I think you would want to do both, right? Now, this is the kind of confusion that we normally face even at work when we are trying to figure out how do we want to impress our customers. Now, should we use flashy technology and AI, or should we focus on engaging communications and marketing for impressing these customers? Now, this is the confusion that we will try and address today. And we will also speak about 5 ways in which we can impress the customer by combining AI and marketing in the right manner. So in 2012, there was a shocking piece of news. It was about the retail brand Target. Now, what Target had done was it had sent maternity coupons to a teenage girl, and she was pregnant, but nobody knew about that. Her father also didn't know that she was pregnant. So the question is, how did Target find out that she was pregnant? They did that through artificial intelligence. Their AI analyzed all the purchases of all their women customers over the years. They identified certain patterns, and that's how that AI managed to predict pregnancy almost accurately. When customers found out about this, they were very angry because this was a clear violation of privacy. So this is the problem with integrating AI with marketing. This is a very tricky balance that needs to be maintained, like how much to use in marketing or how do we integrate it in marketing. Before we answer these questions, it's better to first understand what we mean by AI. Now, generally, when somebody says artificial intelligence, I think most of us think of a robot, or we think of, say, self-driving cars. And actually, the movie fans, we would probably remember Jarvis from the Iron Man. Now, of course, all these three are powered by artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is a much larger umbrella term. Now, what it contains is it has three core tools. These are the tools of AI. They are statistics, semantics, which is related to languages, and logic, which is obviously rule-based. Now, when we use these three tools of AI in different combinations, in different proportions, it gives us the different methods of AI. Some examples like machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing. Now, the objective, or why do we have these tools and methods of AI? It is to make machines smarter. So AI is as simple as that. Let me just take you through a small example of how artificial intelligence can make machines smarter. Popular and the most common actually method of AI is machine learning. Now you decide suddenly that you need to buy some clothes and you decide to go to Myntra. So this is the very first time that you're logging on to Myntra, and because it's the very first time, you will have to set the filters as per your preferences. Myntra does not know you at all, so it won't be able to help you at this point. But as you keep visiting Myntra, as you keep using it, it will start learning more about you, what you like, what you don't like, what items you're putting in your wish list, or how often do you shop. By the time you visit Myntra for the 100th time, it will be able to maybe greet you with a selection of clothes that you like based on what you have chosen in the past. They will already have identified the frequently used filters for you as a person, and this will all change, vary from person to person. They will be able to tell you what is the right size that you should select, and all of this information, it's been learning about you. So machine learning, the only purpose of machine learning is prediction largely. How does it do that prediction? It studies your past and your present purchases. It will collect a lot of data based on that, analyze that data, and that's how it will predict what you will want in the future. But the thing that we need to remember is that the accuracy of that prediction on your 100th visit is going to be far greater than the accuracy on your third visit, because the machine has been continuously learning on its own. So if you want to involve or use AI in marketing or for your business, there are three things that you need to keep in mind when you first start. The first is, if you want to use AI for marketing, then it needs training from a marketer. If you want to use it for, let's say, human resources, then again, an HR professional needs to train it. We cannot expect an IT person to train that AI, because otherwise, that AI is not going to help us in the function that we want it for. And the very first step that we take when we are integrating AI with marketing is to ask the right question, or to frame the right hypothesis. Now, if we don't ask the right question, then obviously the answer that we get is not going to be accurate. Asking the right question will also help us identify what is the right quality and what type of data will be required to get us the output that we want. So it's a very simple thing. If you ask the wrong question or you use rubbish data, the answer that you get is going to be garbage. And I think this was the problem that Target also faced. There were two marketers at Target, and they went to the in-house statistician and they asked him this question. If we want to figure out if a customer is pregnant, even if she didn't want us to know, can you find out? Now, the question itself was morally wrong. So is it any wonder that the output and the final action that Target took was also morally wrong? We as marketers and business owners, we are the ones who know the customer the best. It is our job to understand customer behavior, their wants, their expectations, and hence the responsibility of finding customer insights without violating their privacy lies completely with us. It's not AI's responsibility. AI is there to simply help us do our jobs in a smarter way and in a quicker way. AI will follow our lead, but we are the leaders of it. So what should be our starting point if we want to ensure that the way we are integrating AI in marketing, it's going to finally win the customer's heart and not their anger? We need to begin with customers. That has to be the starting point, followed by marketing, and only after that should we look at AI. Uber offered free rides to and from vaccine centers to all the eligible customers when the vaccination drive started in India. Now, this is the kind of integration of AI with marketing that would actually win the hearts of customers, because it lives the first principle of marketing, which is customer comes first always. So Uber did not start with the technology first. It did not say, okay, I have this technology, now let me figure out what to do with it. It started by thinking about the customer. The question that it asked was, how can we make our customers' life easier in these crucial times? This is marketing at its core. Now, to answer that question, they first formulated their marketing strategy in terms of the 4 P's of marketing, which are product, price, place, promotion. So they figured out what to offer, at what price, who will be the eligible customers, and how will we promote that offer. Only when this marketing foundation was completely set did they involve artificial intelligence. They used AI mainly for execution, and AI helped it create the list of eligible customers. It ensured that the offer was offered to only those people who chose the vaccination center as their destination. So this level of granularity or this level of speed of execution would not have been possible without AI. This entire experience that Uber offered their customers, it made them very happy. And as we all know, happy customers result in a happy business and more business. The first thing that we need to do is focus on creating positive and memorable customer experiences. Now, the products and services that we offer, which may be very popular today and they may be cutting edge today, tomorrow they're going to become obsolete and forgotten. It's only the experience that we offer these customers that's going to stay with them, and hence it will become our differentiator. Now, the only way we can give a personalized experience to every single customer that we have in our database and while meeting their expectations is through AI and marketing. So, just again, a comparison between Uber and Target. Now, what did Uber start? It said that what will give my customers a memorable experience. There were two things that Uber was focused on. One was the customer, and the second was the experience that it offered. Versus Target, it simply spoke about what will make my company more revenue and for the long time. The customer did not feature in this equation at all. It is no wonder that customers were angry and upset with Target. So the key takeaway from this point is that to woo customers, we first need to build a customer-centric marketing foundation and bring in AI only after we have that foundation in place. And we're not supposed to bring in AI to lead it. It is supposed to come in to support what we want to do or to augment it. The next way to integrate while we're integrating AI and marketing is to focus on on personalization of experiences. So this is a very nice quote from Brian Solis. It says, "Welcome to a new era of AI marketing where machines they're making marketing more personal and human." Now, this is a very ironical quote, but it's so true. So, and what is more personal than owning a pair of shoes that only you have that same pair of shoes and no one else has a similar design? So Nike did that. In 2017, they launched Nike Makers Experience. The customer had to go to the shop, wear a blank pair of Nike shoes, and then choose the design and the graphics and the color that they wanted. Using augmented reality, using projection systems, Nike then projected that chosen design on the shoes the customer was wearing. If the customer liked it, they can make the payment and then they can get the shoes ready in 90 minutes. So this personalization of the shoes was possible purely because of AI. And it helped Nike not just increase sales, but it also helped it collect a lot of data about customer preferences. They used this data for future product design and also to offer personalized recommendations to customers, personalized offers. Personalization makes the customers feel special. Now, we can just ask my husband. Being a foodie, he has ordered so often from Swiggy that now it knows his preferences, what kind of dishes he likes, what cuisine he likes, his favorite restaurants, all of that. And the more he orders, the more offers he gets from Swiggy. And those offers are more or less tailored to suit him, to entice him. Now, I also use Swiggy, but I don't use it as much as he does. So we were just doing a small comparison. Now, when he opened his Swiggy yesterday, this was the offer that flashed. When I opened my Swiggy, I got this offer. Hey, we missed you 60% off. When we further clicked on our respective offers, he got three more offers. And in my case, what I got was just one single offer, one single additional offer. Because I am not using it that often, so Swiggy doesn't know me so much and it's not pampering me as much as it's pampering my husband. But you must also note that in Swiggy's case, look at the list of restaurants that they have shared with me as soon as I opened it. The first option on that is Starbucks coffee because I absolutely love coffee. And in my husband's case, it has been pizza because he loves pizza. So this is a brand that makes its customers feel special and showers them with this kind of attention. Obviously, is going to win the customers' hearts and their wallets. But personalization at the cost of privacy is going to be disastrous because there is a very thin line between collecting data to personalize the experience that you're offering and continuing to collect that data even beyond that point. To harness the power of AI correctly for marketing, we need to know when to stop or when to say enough is enough. Now, we can use this question as a sort of litmus test for deciding where to draw the line. Like, if we are working on, say, some app, or we are working on some software that we want to launch, maybe ask it this question: if I use AI in this manner, will it create a positive experience for my customer? If the answer is yes, then please go ahead with the app, with the software that you're working on. But if the answer is no, put a stop to it, revisit, modify it so that till you get the answer as yes. Suppose you are planning to launch an app which helps identify the ingredients in a food item just by looking at the photograph. So for this, your app will need access to the customers or the user's phone camera and their gallery. But you won't need access to their contact list or their messages, right? So then don't collect that kind of data. Just restrict yourself to the photograph part of it. Or suppose you are working on an app that will sync with my smart lights. So suppose I switch on the TV, the app will instruct the lights to turn dim. Or if I'm sitting and reading a book, through the webcam feed, the app can see that I'm reading. It will turn the lights white and bright. Now, for this kind of a personalized service, the app has to have access to my webcam feed. It has to have access to my smart appliances. Now, this is a lot of sensitive information about me that is in your hands. So, it is your responsibility to make sure that when you are creating that app, that you will collect only as much data as is needed to give a customer that happy, delightful experience, and not even one little bit of data more. You also have to ensure that that data is kept secure, if there are no hackings or anything, and that you are not selling that data to a third party just to make some money out of it. If you do this, you are showing respect for the customer's privacy. If you show respect, they will trust you and they will like to work with you or engage with your app or AI. That is one of the reasons why Apple is still one of the most beloved tech companies around, because they keep customers' privacy at the topmost priority. Now, the latest iOS update has mandated that every app has to upfront show this information. They need to get permission from the user, giving that user complete control on his information, on who can use it, where, for what purposes it can be used. Apple is very well aware that almost 80% of the users are not going to allow it to track its activities. This will have some impact on their ad revenues. It will have an impact on a lot of other players' revenues. But Apple is doing this purely in the interest or in the customer's interest. The next point is that we need to oversee and course correct whatever AI that we have now, or what we are developing. The reason why this is necessary is because once we train our algorithm or the artificial intelligence, even though it will learn things on its own, it can go wrong. So before we get to that, let's first understand what we mean by training the machine, on what do we mean by machine learning. So let's take an example of how we humans make a decision. Okay, so suppose we have to decide today what kind of outfit to wear. For that decision, we will need input data. Now, the input data is going to be things like what clothes, what do I have in my wardrobe, what is the weather today, or what is the purpose of my outing today. Now, on the basis of this, once we have this input data, we will be using our experience. Now, our experience will help us make sense of the input data. Without that experience, the data is just useless. It's lying there, but it's not going to help us. So our experience will tell us that, okay, if you're going to hang out with your friends, then it is better that you wear something comfortable. But it's also going to rain, and if it is going to rain, then you might as well wear something which will dry quickly. So you don't wear jeans. And that's how we will arrive at a decision. Okay, by marrying the experience that we have with the input data that we have. So in a machine's case, machine also requires input data, but a machine does not have any experience of its own. So for that reason, a machine needs training data. Now, training data is something which is it's a sample set of data that we are sharing it with the machine so that it understands what it is supposed to do with the input that it has got. So, like if I'm creating AI or that machine learning algorithm for marketing purposes, then my training data is going to contain a lot of marketing input and marketing data because that's what you want it to learn. Now, on by marrying the training data with the input data, the algorithm will be able to give us prediction models, the analytics models, and whatever output that we want. The more data we feed, the faster it will learn and start doing things on its own. Okay. Now, but this is not a one time activity. It is not that when at the start of AI you came, you gave it data, you trained it, and then you forgot about it and you got back to your routine life. That's not how this will work. Even initially, obviously, you will have to give a lot more time to that activity, but later you need to still periodically supervise it to make sure that whatever you are whatever the algorithm is learning, it's correct, that the right set of data is being fed to it on a continuous basis, because this is a machine after all. It has no moral compass, so it does not know what is right, what is wrong. And if it takes a wrong decision, you are going to be your brand or your business is going to get affected. Now, Microsoft had launched some time back, it launched an AI chatbot and it called it Tay. Now, Tay was supposed to be a teenage girl. And Tay was supposed to learn how to speak like a real teenage girl by interacting with real human beings on Twitter. But we all know the internet has so many trolls, it has a lot of nasty people. So when Microsoft launched Tay and it told it to start interacting with users on Twitter. When it first launched, it was a very sweet, innocent girl because that's how it was supposed to be. And it moved from this to this after interacting with the trolls online. Now, you can imagine, you can understand what the issue is over here. And all of this, can you imagine it happened within less than 24 hours of Tay interacting with the internet? So, obviously, it had to be deactivated. But this shows why we need to constantly supervise AI even after we have trained it initially. Another example, Google Photos, the algorithm there made a mistake when it identified Africans as gorillas. Now, that is such a racist mistake. But that is where the training comes in, where we need to ensure the human counterpart needs to ensure that the AI is learning the right thing and the right data. Now, we don't have to handle the training all by ourselves. We can always take help from the users of whatever software, whatever application we have created. So look at this example from Google. Google is offering, taking our help, right, every single day. It wants the Gmail's algorithm to understand what is spam, what is not spam. So it tells us just select if it's not spam. Our system will slowly learn how to classify spam from not spam. And that's how it works, and it's very useful. The last part is simply supervising AI and ensuring it is on the right track is not, it's good, but it's not enough. We need to use AI and marketing to give back to society as much as we can. Now, marketing is communication that will help us change. It can influence people's habits, it can influence their perception. If it is done correctly and if it is done for the right reason, it can actually change the behavior of 7 billion people on earth. In 2020, all brands, businesses, governments, they all spoke about the importance of washing your hands and the personal hygiene factor. And almost overnight, 7 billion people changed their habits and started washing their hands multiple times a day. Now, this is what we call the power of marketing. So, and AI, obviously, we know is tremendously powerful. It has It's amazing. Its speed is very good, and it can analyze millions of things in a fraction of the time that it would take us. So imagine combining these two, what sort of a power pack combination we will get to be able to give back to society. I'll give you one recent example. At the start of May, all of us were playing fastest finger first because we were trying to book vaccination slots before they closed. And as soon as the vaccination slots used to open on the government website, they would fill out within less than a minute. Suddenly, on one day, on across my WhatsApp, various groups of WhatsApp, I got this link for a particular website called Vaccinate Me. What the website was supposed to do is, using artificial intelligence, the website would get a notification, it would get a ping that slots have opened. And as soon as the website would find out, it would send a notification to me that yes, the slot has opened. If you want, you can go and register yourself. Now, I did not know who had set up this website, who created the AI, but I was mentally just blessing whoever had done it. Ki, yeah, thank God they're helping us. When I registered, I got a thank you message from Healthify Me, which is a health app. Now, I was pleasantly surprised that Healthify had created some AI like this without any expectation of getting anything in return. And they did it using their marketing skills and their customer insight that the marketing team had. They figured out what was the biggest pain point from the health point of view of their customers in the recent times, and then they were trying to address that pain point through with the help of AI. They managed to do this so quickly. Also, they executed it so well. I'll give you one other example of how an organization has used AI and marketing for the greater good. If you take a look, you will understand the whole integration here.
India is home to more than 6 crore small businesses, and they've been fighting for survival after the coronavirus outbreak and the lockdowns. Presenting not just a Cadbury ad. We advertised not just for ourselves, but for thousands of small businesses across India. The idea was innovative, but the technology and execution was challenging. Most of the stores in India don't have a digital presence, so we had to manually feed our system to create a database of local retailers, mapping them to their location, which we identified through PIN codes. As the ad was served to an individual, an algorithm located the PIN code and then mapped the various local stores in that PIN code and served the one closest to the individual in real time. The AI-enabled system created thousands of permutations for the localized version of the same ad. So many that it is even impossible to track. This resulted in the first ever hyper-personalized ad ever. One that ensured every single person that saw the ad supported a local store. Because when all of us support our local stores, all of us can have a happy Diwali, not just a Cadbury ad.
As a quick roundup, the way to the customer's wallet is through their heart. The way to their heart is through a safe, memorable, and personalized experience. The way to those experiences is through AI and marketing, and the way to AI is through data. Finally, the way to data is through the right question. So, right now, even when you are maybe working on your side businesses, you have a project, start thinking of the right question that you want an answer to, and start collecting the right data from this moment onwards, so that as soon as you are ready, you can integrate AI and bring it on board to help you grow your business. So that's it. Thank you so much.